It's fall and it's time for your kids to go to school again. But with intersections like this one, where it's populated with cars, school buses, bikes, and transit, how would you know if your children will be getting to and from school safely? Sure, there are signs to stop and slow down, but what about the dangers beyond the streets? Well, look no further than your street corner, your friendly neighborhood crossing guard. Meet Colleen Hastings, a crossing guard at this intersection of Simonton and Wallace for over 20 years.
A friend of mine was a crossing guard over on the next street, so she mentioned it to me, so I became a crossing guard because I love the kids.
However, even the best listening children can't avoid all the hazards of street traffic. To get a better understanding, we speak to the head coordinator of the traffic safety programs of Toronto.
There are still people that are using their cell phones and they're not paying attention to the intersection. They're not seeing that the crossing guard is standing out in the middle of the intersection, or they're not seeing that the lights changed red and they're going right through.
However, being a crossing guard is not as easy as one would think, as many of them have put their bodies on the line while on the job.
There's a tendency of making a right-hand turn when I'm in the middle. They think I'm going one way, and meanwhile I'm not going that way. I'm going the same way as they're going. So I've been hit here once, and I've nearly been hit a few times.
We've had guards that have pushed kids out of the way and barely gotten out of the way themselves. So it's just driver inattention, I think, is the biggest hazard to the crossing guard.
What about safety beyond the streets? Over 8 years ago, this neighborhood was shaken up from the infamous Holly Jones kidnapping. Since then, the neighborhood has been lacking a sense of safety.
I knew who Holly was. It was eerie around here with all the police looking for her. Then they discovered her body.
Whenever there's a tragic incident in that a child's been abducted or a child's been hurt by anybody, I think all parents want to bring their kids closer and keep a tighter rein on them, and ensure that they're safe. Time helps with that, and having crossing guards, I think, help with that as well, because they know that the child leaves their home and they're in sight of the crossing guard, or they're not far from the crossing guard. And if the child is frightened on the way to school, they often run to that crossing guard, and that's a safe place for them. And most of our crossing guards actually learn all of the kids' names, which I think is amazing. And they call them all by name, and they know what's going on, and how they ask them how their day went at the end of the day, and they're just someone that the child is very comfortable with, and I find that the parents become very comfortable with them as well.
And after over 20 years of service, what does the neighborhood think about Colleen?
Colleen's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, she's been in the area for as long as I can remember, and that's over 20 years. And she knows all the kids by name, and she is gracious, and she's so kind to all of the kids, and she knows exactly what's going on, and she keeps the neighborhood incredibly safe for all the kids and the adults that are walking the kids, and she's been a fantastic contributor to our community.
A feeling that many share in this neighborhood. Reporting for the Journal at Centennial College, I'm Terrence Chow, Toronto, Ontario.